Pranam Partho.
Pranam.
Partho, I want to continue our discussion on self-realization, self-inquiry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that, one of the very interesting subjects for discussion is the Shiva consciousness in Hinduism, in Vedanta, in Shaivism.
We touched upon that.
We touched upon that once, I think. And we are in February 26 and Shivratri is coming soon, which is one of the celebration. Mahashivratri.
3 days from now.
3 days from now. So, besides looking forward to the bhang pakoras, I would, if I may, start by asking you as the significance of anybody who wants to understand Shiva. How can one start visualizing, understanding Shiva, at least intellectually to begin with, over time, of course?
Intellectually, you cannot
Okay.
understand Shiva. Shiva is way beyond the intellect. But the best starting point would be to understand that your own inmost consciousness is Shiva. Shiva is the absolute non-dual consciousness in which you yourself are appearing to yourself. You as Kunal are appearing to your own mind in that consciousness we call Shiva. So Shiva is the basis, the ground for not only the mind, but the Kunal that is being reflected in the mind to itself as Kunal. So the self as Kunal and the world in which Kunal appears to himself as Kunal are both appearing in the consciousness we call Shiva. So that consciousness is what you are. It seems a very simple and obvious statement. You are that. But when? I mean, you are that when you've ceased to be everything that you're not. Which means when you no longer identify with all the things that you believed yourself to be. When you're no longer what you're not, then whatever remains, the ground state, the background, whatever you call it, whatever remains is that Shiva. So in that sense, that Shiva is what you are. That's why it's your inmost consciousness. Almost you can think of it as the screen on which the entire world and the entire universe is being projected. You yourself are being projected there, the self and the world, and the self in the world. All that is being projected on the screen, and don't think of this as a flat, one-dimensional screen. This is a screen of infinite depth, measureless depth, and the screen is everywhere. And it is on the screen everything is being projected. Everything appears on the screen and disappears. That screen is Shiva. And that screen is what you are when everything else that you are identified with disappears, falls away. In that sense. So the you that when I say you are that, I don't mean you as Kunal, you as mind or mental consciousness, but you as the bedrock of all that. You as the Adhar, the ground state on which all this is built. That is Shiva.
And
so this whole world, this whole universe is happening in Shiva. Everything that we see and know, and everything that we recognize, that we understand, everything that we are and do, everything is happening in Shiva. Shiva is that infinite field in which existence itself happens. So how can Shiva be known by the mind or understood by the mind? So these are things to be contemplated, not reasoned out. You can't think about these things. I mean, well, you can, but you won't get too far with thinking. So you have to go beyond thinking. The other thing that human mind is capable of, the buddhi is capable of, beyond thinking, is contemplation. So contemplation is the next level of the mind. So we have to get there. To be able to contemplate, not think, contemplate. And through that contemplation, which happens best in a quiet, concentrated mind, in that contemplation, you begin to see things. The veils thin out and maybe even fall off. You begin to see the real, the difficult to say and real. You begin to see that which is, which you've never seen before. So it's like that which is over there, but there are so many veils through which you're looking. So you're not seeing that which is, you're seeing that which you're projecting all the time. Whatever we are seeing and experiencing as this world is what we are projecting out there. So suddenly all that is gone, and you begin to see what is there without your projections. That is what begins to happen when you contemplate. A deep, silent contemplation. And if possible, contemplation without the contemplator. There should not be even the distraction of the contemplator. Pure contemplation. In that you begin to understand, discern Shiva. And that's the beginning of what I call the recognition, that what you're beginning to sense and discern out there as this vast field, this all-pervading presence is what you are. So contemplating on this is what Shivaratri is all about. Where you fast through the day. Fasting is not physical fasting. You may of course physically fast too, but upavasa. So you are seated above all your vasanas, your desires, your habitual movements, and everything that you are used to doing every day. You stop all that. For that one day. In fact, I say, why just one day? And prepare for that one day. 3 days or 7 days of preparation for Shivaratri, where you empty your consciousness of everything that's not relevant. That takes a while, but you can do that. And empty yourself. That's the real fasting. And don't distract yourself with conversations and social gatherings. Most people celebrate Shivaratri. I know of many people, most people, who celebrate Shivaratri with other people. Becomes a social occasion or a religious social occasion. When you do things and all that is distraction, absolutely useless distraction. Shivaratri is for silent, solitary contemplation on your own deepest truth. If you can come to Shivaratri with that understanding, with that consciousness, with that attitude, probably something will come to you in those few days before Shivaratri and Shivaratri itself.
Beautiful. How is that Shiva different from some other forms, names we use at times, at least in our human experience, like Krishna, like Mother, like Sri Aurobindo, or whoever you hold dearest to you within your own psychic being or the inmost?
So there's the Shiva that exists in form, the manifest Shiva, the God, Ishvara, Maheshwara. And then one of the forms of the divine. Sri Aurobindo is another form of the divine. The divine When I say another form of the divine, I have to make that clear.
Yeah.
The divine that takes on many forms.
Correct.
So the divine, which is infinite itself, formless and infinite, takes on the form of a Shiva or a Krishna or a Sri Aurobindo, even of the Shakti of the mother. It can take on all forms. Even your form is actually finally, at the end of the day, the divine taking on this form. It depends on which form the divine is fully manifest. In the form of a Sri Krishna or the form of a Shiva, it is fully manifest to itself. In your form and my form, it's not fully manifest to itself. That's the only difference. But then there is the Shiva that is not in form.
Formless.
Not the manifest Shiva. That's the formless Shiva. That is consciousness. That Shiva is pure consciousness, pure Sat Chit Ananda. That Shiva is everything and everyone. When you look at Sri Krishna, it's that Shiva you're looking at. That Shiva is the consciousness that manifests as Sri Krishna, as Narayana, as Sri Aurobindo, as the divine Shakti, the mother herself. So that Shiva has no name. That Shiva just, it means pure, non-dual, absolute consciousness. Absolute means not relative to anything. It doesn't depend on anything. It's not conditioned by anything. It's absolute. Absolutely itself. So when I'm talking about Shiva, I'm talking about that, the pure Satchidananda. Pure, absolute consciousness. Consciousness without a second.
And for humans, for us humans at least,
There are no humans. That's a projection of the mind.
of course. So
A projection of a schooled mind.
for me to,
There's no you.
okay,
The me itself is a projection, a psychological projection. Almost, it's comical. It's a bundle of memories projecting outwardly as a person that you're calling me.
yeah, in that sense, there's no question. There's nothing is relevant, as you said, empty. Yeah.
So everything that's not relevant, that doesn't start. See, the moment you started making the statement, I gave a counter statement, your statement fell.
Yeah.
So whatever statement falls by a counter statement, it's not real to begin with.
Which
You have to come to the statement that doesn't fall. And there's not intellectual debate, mind you. You have to be more sincere than that. So, is there a statement you can make that will not fall
no,
when confronted with pure logic?
no,
There is the statement, I do not know, the mind cannot know. Whatever the mind expresses is not the true knowledge.
correct.
What that true knowledge is, the mind cannot express. Therefore, silence. That is how you come to Shivaratri. In that inner silence which knows itself. You don't have to practice that silence. And people have asked me, what do I do to get that silence for Shivaratri? You are that silence. When you've realized that all the noise in your head is just that noise. So when you realize this, all that noise in the head is noise, you're no longer attached to it. You're no longer enamored of it. You don't give it any importance, do you? So that is what non-relevance means. So for someone, for you for instance, who wants to realize Shiva in this lifetime, in this body, which is what you want really, if you really look deep into yourself, you want to realize Shiva as yourself, or you as Shiva. If that is your aspiration, then almost everything else becomes noise and distraction, and therefore not relevant to your purpose. So when you live that everything not relevant for your innermost purpose is removed, then you become pure, clean. That clean, pure state of being is the state of the sannyasi, the one who will truly touch Shiva within himself or herself. Coming to that again is what Shivaratri is all about. But keeping aside the hardcore Advaita, what was the question you were going to ask? As a concession to the intellectual mind.
Sure. I forgot the question, but now what's coming to me is that can you possibly not be a sannyasi, be in the world, keep operating, and still realize Shiva within?
Sannyasi is not. I know your mind is thinking of that person who wears the ochre robe, shaven
Leaves the
head.
world, leaves the family, leaves the wealth, leaves everything.
So
No,
that
not
this the sannyas I'm talking about has nothing to do with that person.
Okay.
This sannyas is a state of being.
Okay.
State of being.
Yeah.
What is that state of being which we call sannyasi? Unattached. Think about that. Unattached to what?
Everything.
Simple. Unattached to that which can be touched, which can be held.
Experienced.
Unattached to all that. So what is it that can be held, touched, seen? An object of the senses. Can you touch and feel a mental object? Only sense objects. So no attachment to anything that can be felt, seen, touched, known through the senses first. Then not identified with anything that can be conceived of in the mind, that you can perceive mentally. So that is happening outside of you, belongs to Prakriti. So this whole sense perception belongs to Prakriti. Your mental perception also is Prakriti. So no attachment to the sense objects, no identification with any mental movement or projection. Can you imagine that state of being? That kind of total non-attachment is difficult even to imagine. If you can imagine that, you already are meditative. You've already touched that through imagination. Imagination is a powerful tool. Just to imagine yourself in that state and just keep to that imagination the rest of the day, and something will happen to you in that exercise. So don't dismiss imagination. It's a very powerful tool. Imagine yourself to be like that, empty. Then don't hold on to that which you cannot immediately, directly experience and know. It takes care of the whole world and space and time. Past, future, everything gone. You're just here, the presence that you are. Uncontaminated, uncorrupted by the senses of the mind. Pure presence. That consciousness is what you are right now. Right now. You don't have to do anything to get that consciousness. Everything else about you, your whole psychological structure, your personality, the world you're living in, your attachments, your relations, desires, fears, past, present, future, everything is
Projection.
yes, on that. It's being projected onto that. In Sanskrit, we call it adhyaropa. It's being superimposed on that. But that pure consciousness in which all this is appearing, right? It isn't that pure consciousness. Everything else is appearing. But that pure consciousness itself remains untouched by whatever appears in it or disappears from it. That consciousness is what you are. When you know that, when you've touched that within yourself, you're a sannyasi. And that sannyasi has nothing to do with the world. If the world itself is just an appearance in you, what do you give up? You have to give up nothing. But then you don't cling on to anything either. I mean, neither accept nor reject. Neither cling on nor renounce. You don't need to do either of the two. You are what you are. Let the other things come and go, appear and disappear. How does it matter to you? So to know yourself as the unmoving in all movements is to know yourself as Shiva. It's that simple, really. Why do I say simple? Because that unmoving in all movements is exactly what you are right now. If you weren't that, If you weren't the unmoving, you would never know the moving. How will you know the moving if you yourself are moving? Simple, isn't it? So you will experience movement, all the moving, all the movements, because you're unmoving. To know yourself as the unmoving in all the movements, to know yourself as the unchanging in all the changes, is to know yourself as Shiva. And then rest in that and let things happen. The first thing that will happen is the inner unfolding of the Shiva consciousness. You just have to give it time, that's all. So that's Shivaratri. Contemplating all this is what must be done, and what must be done in a manner of speaking. What I would say, what one can do without getting distracted by all the noise of Shivaratri. No, you know what I mean.
Says it all. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful way of putting it, and I would like to maybe just rest with that and hope some viewers can rest with that.
Right. So yes, on a fitting note for Shivratri, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Shivoham.